Hi guys! Kumusta? I hope nag-dinner na mo. I'll make this very quick na and at the same time, I'm very thankful na nag-allow mo anina time slot na 35. Nag-record naman ka, no? Okay na tayo, Gio? Sige, let's start. Let me do my screen share. Guys, if you have questions, just chat it, okay? Chat lang. Feel free to chat lang din. Hindi na siya nasasabi. Okay? Yan. Better? Full screen? Okay. So, class, busy niyong tanan. Thank you again. I will make this very quick. Wala na tayo another, tawag na to, other applications and tools for this one. Basically, it's more on how you conceptualize things and maximizing things, okay? So, back to passive and active concepts. Before, we have discussed a very, very long one, yung heat avoidance. So assuming na you have maxed out all the possibilities, how can you avoid the heat? Now it's time for you to balance and maximize as well the passive ventilation. Okay? So, when you do passive ventilation, ito yung pag-harness mo ng wind to cool down habitable spaces. Of course, there are times na kumbaga wala ka talagang masilungan, di ba? Tapos, mahirap i-avoid yung heat. So, tapos may time man talaga na mainitan tayo. So, what can we do about it? Paano pa yung next step? Kumbaga, after heat avoidance, passive ventilation tayo. So, first is you gotta do building orientation. So, in this one, kung nagkataon na pantay, east-west orientation plus the orientation ng size ng building, in terms of wind, okay lang. But this one, 9 times na, of course, the shorter side is supposedly east-west side, and the longer side is on the prevailing winds, which is in the northeast west. Okay? So with that, you need to balance that one out. Ay, okay lang na siya medyo mainitan. As well-ventilated wood. Okay? So there's no such thing as one solution. You can have pinaka-common, you orient your spaces through the prevailing winds. Okay? Northeast monsoon o southwest monsoon. Okay? Pero if ever, nagkataon na ang orientation ng init tsaka yung hangin is at the same direction, always choose to avoid the heat kaysa mahanginin ka. That's the rule of thumb there. Okay? Tapos, at the same time, aside sa prevailing wind, okay, naapot ay ginatawag na isa ka data, which is what we call the windrose data. It is a data where kung naka-indicate yung 1-year data or a certain period of data that shows the direction, frequency, and speed ng wind in a certain location. Okay? Yan. So, part 2 ng activity niya, di ba? Have you done your research and search for Metayo Blue? Kung ano yung location ninyo, if may windrows data sila. I have rechecked it. They do not allow the whole year na. They allow a certain period of time na lang. That's okay. That's a good start. Ang atin is ma-practice natin yung the design process. Okay? The design process of it. Yan. So, windrows, yan. Wind data best presented graphically. Okay? Yan. So, in wind data, windrows, may naka-indicate na lines that indicates period, duration, okay, speed. But the best way is to have this one. Yan. Best is naka-octagonal shape siya. Okay? Para makita yung north, east, west, south, even the southeast one. And then, naka-indicate, andyan yung 12 lines para makita yung monthly na frequency and speed. It is in this shape. Yan. But, at the same time, we cannot force mga agencies to gather this data. Pero, pilitin, kumbaga, let's utilize their data na lang talaga on how they do it. Yan. Example. One of the example is this one. Okay? Kung makita niyo yung wind speed, again, somewhere from the internet. North, mostly orientation north and northeast yung data. Pero when I check kanina, for the whole week, naka-south yung orientation. Tapos kung titignan nyo ngayon, ang nakanindot is, di ba may north, northeast, south, southwest. So, meaning may konting deviation lang from the monsoon. Right? So, similar lang. But, most of its air is coming from the northeast portion. Okay? And wala masyadong air galing from east and west. So, mahirap doon. So, mas mabuti, just cover it. Wala din namang hangin eh. So, do not allow more penetration. Yan. So, aside from orientation, you need to consider the site layout. You need to consider the time of the day. This may take effect din. For example, yung site po pala is malapit sa may dagat, you may consider the land and sea breeze. Pero in general, mahangin naman talaga sa may baybaying dagat, di ba? So, in terms of ventilation, okay yung ventilation sa may dagat. Also consider the landforms that usually exhibits the properties of anabatic and katabatic wind. Kung saan it follows the contour ng lupa, may tendency yung hangin na ifa-follow na yung lupa. Okay? And also consider the vegetation and soil type. In terms of vegetation, okay, you have trees, you have shrubs, and so on. Now, in terms of site, these trees and shrubs serves as permeable windbreaks. So you consider them na it slows the wind speed. So in terms of kaning ventilation, hindi masyado maigi na meron kayong kumbaga immediate na trees and shrubs. It's a good filter of noise though, air pollution, pero for the sake of ventilation, hindi siya gaano ka-igi. Yan. Okay. Also, in terms of vegetation and soil type, there are times where, in terms of mong site, na ay murag large, hard ground surface. May it be dry na lupa lang, or even hard concrete, okay, you will be having issue in there because instead of ang imuang hangin is straightforward, it heats up air at that point. So it disrupts your cross ventilation. Okay? Yung hangin na papasok. Also, trees may keep yung ground ng hangin. At the same time, in terms of bushes restrict air movement to the ground level. So, dinideflect niya away yung wind. So, pag may mga bushes kayo dun sa bahay niyo, i-check niyo, ay, mudiligan kayo. Medyo naapatong San Francisco, ano ba, Santan, na ginagawang bushes, right? Muna common na ginawang ng pang halaman sa tabi ng bahay, right? Also, you check the layout. Especially itong mga bahay na ata sa urban and suburban areas. Now, always, pag nangyari, very rough ang surface pag nasa urban areas. Thus, it decreases the wind speed by 25%. Okay? So, very rough. So, nasa-stop niya yung wind speed, but it may sometimes reflect strong winds at lower levels because of those very hard tall buildings. So, let's check paano nangyari yan. Yeah. If ever you have this very solid windbreak, it may be a pader, a building, a billboard, okay? It will cause a portion of your space na walang hangin, but because of the negative space, napapalakas yung hangin. Okay? Yan. In terms of topography, you consider it. If open ba yung space ninyo, nasa suburbs ba kayo, or nasa urban centers. So as you can see, pag ito in meters in height, pag nasa 30 meters kayo below, ang hina ng wind speed. At open area 70, okay? 49 and 32. Okay? Tapos habang tumataas, bumibilis din yung wind speed. Pero imagine the 70 and 32. It decreases more than half. Okay? It creates wind gradient. Yan. Aside from that, even mga land surfaces, landforms, nag-create siya and low pressure, nagabuhat siya og blind spot sa wind. We call that as the leeward, itong negative pressure na side. In terms of proximity sa water. Now, given those site layouts, best is to focus also on the building. So, if you wanna go with the basic ventilation concept, simple lang. Consider the windward and the leeward portion. Yun lang. Consider the windward and the leeward portion. Okay? Yung windward, dun nag-strike yung air. Okay? And the leeward is dun yung negative pressure na wala. So, it's just a balance of positive and negative pressure. Kaya, pumapasok yung air and wind dun sa spaces natin. Okay? Now, how will this be effective? The presence of air is not enough. Na may hangin lang, hindi pwede yun. Kasi if we are in a warm, humid climates, okay, climates, yan, di ba, ang discomfort is because of high temperature and humidity. Para ma-eliminate tong discomfort to, you need a breeze with approximately 2.5 to 5 meters per second. Thus, you need to have a wind speed sa loob ng bahay. Okay? Do you feel that na may pumapasok na hangin talaga sa bahay? Ako, that 2.5, nag-measure, my thesis though before, advisor ko, si Katya, we measure it, that 2.5 meters per second is really like, it's the breeze that it would, ano na siya. Okay? It's really comfortable na wind speed as indicated by the book. Yan. So the basic concept is, sa ating bahay is, we have the cross ventilation. Okay? As the image itself, can be utilized by having two opposing windows. Okay? You have two windows on both sides or on either side. As long as yung dalawang window na yun is not on the same side. It's cross ventilation. Okay? So you can achieve an airflow and cooler effect by opening both windows rather than just one. Right? So kung makita ninyo, if you can see my laser pointer at this part, okay? This is the windward. Tapos, ito dito, yung mainit na hangin ito, it pushes the hot air outside. Tapos pinapalitan niya ng malamig na hangin. Cooler air. Ganun lang yan. Plus, in addition, yung speed niya, wind speed, thus creating the cross ventilation. Now, in a simple situation, for your cross ventilation to be effective, okay, kaya pinagawa ko kayo ng section is to check on this one. For it to be effective, dapat ang ratio ng wind height mo ay yung width height mo of your rooms, okay, na if may cross ventilation siya, should be less than 5 times the height. Tanungin ko kayo, ano ba usually yung naging ceiling height niyo kung ginawa niyo na yung activity niyo? I haven't checked it yet. Just a few people who have advanced submit. Ilan inyong ceiling height? Turn on your audio, guys. Ilan inyong ceiling height? 2.3. Wow. 2.5, 2.7. Okay. 2.4. Okay. Yan. Quick note, in our National Building Code, even our National Building Code, okay, National Building Code, ground floor should have 2.7 meters na ceiling height if hindi siya well ventilated. Okay? So imagine those 2.3, 2.4. So imagine that one, di-design yun yung balay na hindi pang tropical design. Kumbaga, di consider, magbutang lang sila ng electric fan, magbutang lang sila ng aircon. So we put 2.4 na ceiling height. Pero to be honest, medyo awkward siya, kitaas gigayo ang uban po. Kami, we have 3 meters sa ceiling height. Uy, taas naman bitaw kaayo. Ganun. Pero, that 3 meters na ceiling height, ako, kaning, thankful ko. Ako, ma-feel ko yung, pag ginaganon ko yung ceiling, kay, siguro mga 2 inches from it, na-feel ko yung radiation ng init. But since I'm far from the ceiling, hindi masyado. Tapos may hangin, better. So, ceiling height matters, okay? Yan. Cross ventilation, guys. For it to be effective, i-check ninyo, width nung room should be less than 5 times the height. So, pag na 2.4, I think, I suppose, issue the Deca Homes. Mojod, namut lang Deca Homes. 2.35, 2.3. Wow, Krisha, 3.2. Yayamanin.
Sir, tinuod na, sir. Tinuod yun na. Weirdo yun kaya siya.
Diba? 3 ang peak sa roof, no ceiling among balay. Yun lang. Mainit talaga yung bahay nyo because wala kayong ceiling. Wala kayong, kumbaga, sort of insulation. Okay? 2.7 meters ang apex or ang start sa angle. Mababa talaga. Okay? So, kung titingnan mo, so your room width should be less than 2.4. Yan. Masyadong mababa. If may cross ventilation na, you have a room that has two windows on both on each side? Sa room sa inyo? Bira. Because of, kumbaga, wala na. Pasunod na tayo sa kumbaga, conventional na layouting ng bahay. Don't worry, class. Napay isa ka solution for that. Yeah. Yeah. Now, how about, it's dili ato ang scenario. What if, kanang 9 room, tapos na pay room, tapos na pay room. Sir, pwede ba gyapon ng cross-ventilation, anak? Yes, that is possible. We call that the global cross-ventilation. How to make that effective? You make sure na ang inlet and outlet sa openings create a positive pressure. It increases the pressure rather than decreasing the pressure. Later, ma-open up na to siya. Yeah. Okay. Ano mag-next? Yeah. So part of those cross ventilation, okay? You may pag mag-cross ventilation kayo, so air movement over skin, warm humid conditions encourages evaporation ng skin. So therefore, pag maglalagay ka ng opening, make sure na matatamaan yung tao. Okay? You don't put opening sa taas because hindi naman kasi na kung hindi natatamaan ng hangin, hindi na-encourage yung evaporation ng sweat. Right? Yan. Now, also, pag mag-cross ventilation kayo, air movement across the surfaces and in the air spaces can also reduce heat buildup due to solar radiation. So, cross ventilation is not limited to habitable space. You may also include those air gaps, air space of thermal insulation so that ma-reduce mo yung init sa loob. Okay? Also, air movement encourages the exchange of air from the outside. So, you need some outlet. Kasi if ever hindi nag-cross-ventilate, magkakaroon ka ng isang wind shadow. So, you consider that, class, ha? Yan. Another. Sir, mababa talaga, mahina talaga yung wind speed sa lower part kasi ang daming harang. What to do? Elevate. Kaya magtaka kayo na naka-elevate konti yung mga tawag na ito. Bahay ng mga ninuno natin, di ba? In terms of ventilation. I have slept once in a turogan. Yan. Imagine ang lamig ng floor tapos ma-feel mo yung breeze in between the slots. Yung hangin ko, kani mo yung tropical design. Tapos yung banig nila is ganing uway, ratan, ana. So yun yung pinakahigaan nila, which cool thing if you use in terms of material, wood is hygroscopic and similar products. The thing is, in terms of applicability niya sa tropical design, bakit pa siya nag-hit yung wood? When there's an excess humidity na sa hangin, okay? For example, di ba, high humidity mata din sa Pilipinas, mainit, high humidity, it absorbs the extra humidity in the air. When it's too dry, di na release po niya tong excess humidity. That's why wood is very good material in terms of tropical design because one of the reasons is yan na property ng wood. It being very hygroscopic. Yan. So, aside from cross ventilation, you also have the stack effect or chimney effect. Now, this one naman, if you have some two-story, yan. Ito siya, simple lang ang point. Kumbaga, you use the buoyancy. Okay, more to buoyant driven lang siya. The idea is, yung hot air, mainit, so mas magaan, inumulutang compared to the cold air. So this one actually, the stack effect or the chimney effect plus the cross ventilation, so is supposedly, kumbaga mutual yan sila. Ini-help nung stack effect na magkaroon ng negative pressure dun sa ilalim kasi yung mainit na hangin sa loob, okay, is exiting through the stack or through the chimney, thus allowing more wind, increasing the wind velocity towards the building. On the example, very, tawag na ito, simple, isang space lang. How about if you have multiple spaces? Ganyan. Okay, global stack ventilation, as we call it, could also be possible. Okay, kung makita ninyo, you allow difference ng openings para yung hot air will really follow through the stack. And the most common stack area talaga for tropical design is the hagdanan. Okay, makita nyo, dito man itong pinaka-common area. So, if well-designed, na-consider niya na the stack effect of these spaces going towards the common hagdanan, okay, yung cross ventilation niya, dapat papunta doon sa hagdanan yung exit lahat ng hot air and it will go up to its vents. Ganyan. Ngayon kasi ang tip is may sarili talagang stairwell, tapos naka-secluded yung stairs. So nawala yung stack effect supposedly. Okay? Sir, di good may iwasan kay wala. Deka ra ang balay gud sir. Oy, di mo gud makaya. Isa ra gid ang binibintinahan sa mong balay, sir. Now don't worry kas. Single ventilation kung wala talagang ibang magamit, we may opt for single-sided ventilation. Okay? Now, single-sided ventilation occurs when air enters and leaves on one side lang the room or the space. Okay? That's single-sided ventilation. Now, in terms of single-sided ventilation, i-compare mo siya sa cross-ventilation. For it to be effective, yung width and height ratio mo is just twice the height. So, ano yung height ninyo? Kanina, 2.3. So, dapat the maximum is just 4.6 yung width ng rooms natin. But don't worry, I doubt Deca would give you more than 9 square meters, 3 by 3 na room. Ganun. Pero, ano pa rin kasi yan siya sa ceiling height? Grabe ka-init. Okay? So, don't worry. Kumbaga, ito lang siya is, gina-consider nito, it's not too deep na yung hot air maka-exchange siya o maayo. If it's too deep, hindi na siya masyadong maganda yung air exchange within the room. Ganyan. How to increase that one? Effective, you create a double opening na ventilation. Sa lower part, you create a, kumbaga, inlet dapat siya ng cold air and on the upper part, a outlet of the hot air. Ganun lang yan siya. So, you've increased at yung ratio niya ito at 2.5 na height. Okay, meaning mas effective yung circulation ng air dito at this side. And this one is also effective even if hindi simple lang na loaded na spaces. Okay? Localized yung single-sided ventilation, pero in the multiple spaces within the building could be possible. Sir, what if sa amo ang pag-allow, sir, is di gyud makaya, sir, nga directly sa wind, most of the wind strikes. But wind strikes sa amo ang building, sir, 45 degrees to the normal. Okay? Now, ang mangyari is yung internal wind speed na gina-aim natin is decreased, okay, up to 50%. If napagano yung mga mosquito net, up to 40%. Mas gwapo jud na kaning maigo ginato ang opening niya by, kumbaga, perpendicularly. Pero, of course, hindi naman siya tama all the time, di ba? Because the wind shifts. Right? Pero kung makuha gini mo tong, kumbaga, pinaka-frequent na direction, better. Okay? Yan. Now, if you add fins to that, dun sa opening mo, even if ito nare-redirect ng fins yung hangin, so with that, even up to 60 degrees instead of 45, ma-harness mo ang wind up to the 50% of its wind speed. Okay? So if you incorporate fins, so bisag 60 degrees ang angle, at least ma-maximize mo ang 50% of the wind speed. Yan. So an idea, when air movement passes over people in cold conditions, so heat loss, increase in evaporation, so better have a lower one opening dun sa windward ninyo na side and have a higher opening dun sa leeward na side. Okay? Same concept sa stack effect. Yan. Another scenario, napabilis. If the inlet naman, okay, kung titignan ninyo, and outlet are at high level, then yung stream ng air passing room will be at a high level. So wala, blind spot. Same thing, pag nasa taas yung inlet ninyo, nasa baba yung outlet, wala lang, i-alter na lang, may blind spot pa rin. So, best is, you have the air movement at the required height. Okay? Yan. Tapos, kahit may partition pa siya, okay lang as long as nasa lower part. It will just create a, kumbaga, leeward or blind side ng direction ng wind. Pero, at least, the intended area kung saan dapat may hangin is being hit. Yan. Ito isa sa mga common na dapat gina-consider in terms of size ng inlet and outlet. Now, if the inlet is larger than the outlet, the fastest wind speeds will occur at just the outside of the outlet. Ito. Okay? So, dapat, hindi yung the logic natin is, you have the high inlet, kahit small yung outlet. Okay? But if the inlet is smaller than the outlet, the fastest wind will occur inside the room. Okay? So it's not the amount of air or wind na harness, but it's the wind speed that you want to utilize to have that evaporative cooling. Okay? So nakita yung effect ng size ng inlet tsaka outlet. Yan. So when an opening is placed centrally on the facade and the window straight into the air, into the face of the building, the air stream inside the opening is in the same direction of the wind. Yan. Pag hindi, mag-create siya ng positive and negative pressure as being directed by the stream. Okay? Pag hindi siya centrally located. Yan. May nag-chat? Oh, wala pa so far. Next is, what if may central opening ka pero may projection? Okay? This one is in a section view to ha. Section view. If may central opening ka tapos may projection, which is common sa ano bang housing, na merong ledge, may protection sa ulan, para hindi pumasok yung tubig. Yan. So, ang mangyari is, nade-deflect yung air pataas. Okay? And our main point here is, dapat yung di ba, ka-level natin yung window, di ba? Human height. Tapos, nade-deflect siya pataas. So, nawawala yung hangin sa atin. Yung stream ng hangin. So, dapat, what you do is, you put a slot in between. So that, ma-counter niya yung pag-deflect pataas, babalik siya sa kanyang lead spot. Okay? Hint here is, with your, how you balance out your sun shading device, tapos optimizing as well yung effect ng stream ng hangin. You don't just design na merong protrusion dyan, that's it. It will create an upward stream ng air. Okay? Gets? May tanong so far? Anong oras na ba? Oh, isang oras lang talaga tayo. May tanong? Okay, wait. Paano po ang privacy? What do you mean, Sir Mino? Sir Mino around?
Yes, sir.
Anong tanong mo about privacy?
Yes, sir. Kasi pag sir, nasa every room is yung sa taas. So, paano po walang katubang nato, sir?
Lap, putol-putol ka, Chris. Can you chat it, please? Yung iba, baka may tanong pa so far para dire-diretso. Hintayin natin si Chris, ha. May tanong si Chris. Yung sa global ventilation process is yung isang okay. Yun siya, di ba may mga partition lang siya ng mga spaces. So, if as long as you keep it na, tawag ito, beyond the visual height, and then you apply, you apply yung, tawag ito, natural surveillance, I guess ma-address mo naman yung privacy. Okay? Privacy does not necessarily always na dapat enclosed ka and so on. There are different privacies kasi. Hindi lang, privacy is not just visual. Okay? So, if you think na, depende pa rin, kumbaga subjective yung privacy, anong privacy yung hindi niya? Is it, kumbaga, visual from the outside? Or how, the level of security as well, if may tendency ba talaga na aakyatin niya yung partition just to see that one. It's just an example. If ever kailangan may partition talaga, okay, at least nababalik niya yung stream ng air, okay, natatamaan pa kayo kahit at may konting kumbaga blind spot lang siya, yung leeward na spot na hindi na-ventilate. Okay? Force butas sa taas. Force airflow lang yun, sir, neglecting the presence of kisame. Assuming kisame na yung top that's the, kumbaga, outer lining per section ng space. Okay? I hope that is clarified. Okay? Klaro ba siya, Chris? Okay, thank you. Yan. Also, in cross-ventilation, windows in multi-story buildings will not be centrally placed on facade even though they are central in each room. Okay? So, dili na siya pantay-pantay per room kay lahat yung sa wind movement. Given, pagani siya na kanang nabayatay wind gradient. Right? Yan siya, ang consideration. And also, louvers will also affect the airstream. So, gina-deflect niya. So, will you have it this way or have it the other way? And then, at the same time, the privacy. Ano yung, may visual privacy ino-offer yung louvers eh. And also, pag nakabaliktad kasi, as indicated in the image, ano yung issue in terms of if this is being part of the fenestration, yung ulan, pag umulan, papasok yung tubig sa loob. But, the best is, it directs the stream ng air pababa. Lang. Later, makakonceptualize mo, ay, i-deflect na kong air dire with this air here, and so on. Okay? Yan. Okay, next is, what if may high-rise building naman in terms of cross-ventilation? So, pag high slab, ang nangyayari, naa siya ay strong force, strong wind draft in the windward phase. Ito siya na portion. On the bottom 2/3. Tapos, yung sa upper third, na-deflect na lang sa taas. Okay? Now, you will increase this one if you add another low building. Thus, if you have spaces here, and spaces at this portion of the building, maganda yung airflow. Okay? It's like you're creating kumbaga, canyon of buildings na malakas yung hangin. It's like, parang stream mo yung hangin. Okay? Now, spaces under the buildings and columns, if your building is in piloty, okay, are likely to experience a high velocity. Okay? An example of this one is mga condominium by DMCI na ginagawang parking space yung lowermost floors, yung space yung sa taas. Okay? Mangyayari, nag-bring down siya ng velocity sa baba. Kasi yun pa rin, same application, 2/3, 1/3, pero instead of paikot, okay, yung velocity, since open siya, it follows through sa baba. Okay? Yan. In terms of edgy smoke as well, same matter. Okay, now, in terms of, i-consider nyo cross ventilation sa building, what if, ganyan. So, sir, what if my series of buildings, may apartment sa inyo, di ba? May naka-townhouse, may naka-tenement. How will you consider that? So, building which require air movement must be spaced so that the wind which is deflected over them can return to low level. Yan siya. So, if ever ganito yan, 0.75. So, ang spacing nito dito is from here, as indicated as space, you reduce it 0.5, tapos increase ka naman ng 0.75. If this space here, okay, is nasa, let's say, 10 meters, yung tama na space, don't worry class, we will be measuring wind shadows. You will space it this time here at 0.55, space here at 0.75. So, hindi necessary na ginagawa natin sa building kay equally spaced ba. So, we don't do that. Example lang naman is in terms of buildings, yan. If you lay out buildings na regular row, you create leeward pa rin, mga blind spot ng air, pag ganyan. So, better, you put it in a staggered row, a staggered way. So, it decreases the areas where there is a leeward or blind spot ng stream ng airflow. Yan. In terms of pag-curve yung surface mo, okay, naagid siya ay kaning return sa likod, pag-curve yung space. Okay? So, pag nakanino sa curve na space, your leeward is not really that empty. Babalik at babalik yung wind. Okay? Yan. So, given those mga rule of thumb in terms of pag-design ng openings, pag-layout ng spaces, pag-layout ng buildings, at behavior ng wind, better you compute the wind shadows. Anong oras na ba? Uy, alas 8 na. Guys, 10 minutes, very easy. I will just give this one as a reference to you. Yan. So, given, what if may building ka? Ito yung direction ng wind, okay? Length, height, and width. Ano yung length ng wind shadow? Meaning, at this portion, okay, this is the leeward or kumbaga blind spot ng wind direction. You have this very helpful table. Okay? So let's assess that design. So given a structure, for example, 6 meters, 3 meters height, 24 meters ang length. Gaano kahaba yung wind shadow? You assess. Yan lang. So, width to area ratio is 2A. Yan. So, pang 2A siya. Tapos, length is 24. So, 8A. Okay, guys. Ito yung A, ha? Yan. So, makita nyo, width is 2A. Yan. Image lang yan siya. Tapos, yung length ng building is 24. Makita nyo, laser. 3 divided by 24 is 8A. Right? A is 3, yung height nun. Width is 6, as indicated sa illustration. So, 3, 6 is equals to 2A. So, ito yung wind section. 8A. Thus, your wind shadow is just 3 times 3/4 of A, or 11.25 meters. So, if you put a building beneath, sa likod niyang structure na yan, sa stop ng hangin, at that area, 11.25 meters, if the air is perpendicular to the structure at 11.25 meters. So, you put the structure after the 11.25 para hindi siya maigo sa wind shadows. So, this is part of your assessment. That's why pinapahanap ko sa inyo yung mga stores adjacent sa inyo. High-rise buildings ba ngayon, commercial buildings, kasi they may create wind shadows dun sa bahay ninyo. Yung kapitbahay ninyo, ganun. Okay? Another example, ganun pa rin, pero 6, binaliktad ha. 3 yung width, 6 yung height, 24 pa rin yung width. Thus, height is equals to 2A. Baliktad ha, yung height. Tapos, A over 3, 8A pa rin. Now, as you increase the height ng building, mas bumaba patuloy yung wind shadow. 35.25 meters yung wind shadow. Yan. Okay. Similar examples pa rin. This time is my roof. Yan siya. Naka-roof, angle yung roof. Yan, makita niyo naman siguro yung roof dito, di ba? Ito, example. 3 meters height, 6 meters width, 12 meters length. Pero may roof siya angled at 30 degrees. So meaning after the 3 meters height, may roof pa yan siya. Okay? So makita niyo ito yung height niya plus may roof. If may roof siya na 30 degrees, yan. Same thing. 4A siya. 3 divided by 12, 4. Ang kanyang wind shadow is just 4. Tingnan nyo kaso. If ganito lang siya, ang wind shadow niya is just 2 and 3/4. Pag may roof na additional, it's another 4. Okay, nag-increase yung multiplier for the wind shadow. Yan. Same thing, same process. May isa natin. So that's how you compute for the wind shadow. So easy na lang na part computing for wind shadows, because we will not be getting into deep computation on how to really effectively allow air, natural ventilation, kasi very subjective siya. Hirap i-compute kasi you don't know where the source of wind always, pero compare mo dun sa sun, consistent naman yung position ng sun. Okay? So this one is more of conceptual. So yan, class, ang pinaka dapat i-design ninyo. Now, being straightforward, guys, in reality, you don't design with just pure natural ventilation. Of course, kumbaga, I myself have not yet designed na magsalig lang dito sa natural ventilation because in terms of wind speed sa Pilipinas, it's not really that reliable. Okay? Unless nasa beach side ka. Pero if nalang ka sa mga suburbs or especially urban areas, natural ventilation will not really be possible. The point here is, without the aid of the natural mechanical ventilation, kumbaga, hindi ganun siya uncomfortable. At sa comfort level pa rin. Nakita niyo naman, di ba, na doon sa ginawa niyong data, at that time, comfortable ba siya? Okay lang. Desirable. Ganun. Okay? So, yan. So, you assess. May question pa ba? In terms of air movement. Tapos, check also your plates class, ha? Yan. In terms of width, height ratio ng rooms niyo. Ay lang. Pa-clarify ulit po ano yung A, sir. Na, ayaw mag-move nung. A will always be the shorter side. Okay? Okay. A will always be the shorter side of the section. Tapos, i-check mo lang yung build-up niya. For example, kumbaga, itong width niya is equals to 3A or if the height is the 3A. So, i-check mo lang yung proportion. So, A could either be the height or the width. Depende doon sa tawag nito, make up ng section. If it's mas pataas siya, compare mo yung height and width, okay? So width is the A. Kapag mas mahaba naman yung width kaysa height, width is the A. Okay. Thank you. May tanong pa, class? So, but tonight, if slanting, sir, pag slanting, mangita lang ka og nearest na iyang ang angle. For example, naman diri sa table, no, na roof na 45 degrees, na roof na 30 degrees, na roof na 15 degrees, pero andito yung ano ha, ayun no, wind direction. Nagalag akong laptop. Init na siya. Okay? Pag may shed type din, 15 degrees, pero if nandyan yung angle, iba yung wind speed, iba din dito na side. Okay? Example yan. Ito yung example. Yan o. Rosman, follow? Nakaslanting yung roof, either naka-gable at 30 degrees. So, yan. Okay, naapod tayo portion for that. Okay? So, don't worry class. Balikan niyo lang to, tapos makita ko siya sa plate ninyo, sa assessment. So, if there are no more questions, I'll be uploading your final, yung activity 1.3. Tapos, in congruence to it is your plate number 1. So, yung activity 1.3 niyo is yung assessment ninyo. Okay, bakit ganito, bakit ganyan in terms of openings, in terms of wind shadow, in terms of orientation, and so on. So, kayo na bahala. It's a free format. I'll just put notes. Ano yung mga kumbaga minimum na you need to consider. Okay? And after that, in reference to that activity 1.3, you will be doing renovation to your bahay. So, magre-renovate kayo ngayon. Hypothetical lang, hindi mo kailangan gawin. Huwag niyo nang i-consider yung budget. Okay? Sir, basta ka na akong buhaton. Example, very easy kay Clark. Sir, walay ceiling. So, best renovation is to put insulator and ceiling sa inyong bahay. Di ba? Ano lang siya ka-easy. Sir, naidako kayong building sa likod. So, muna din maigo sa hangin. So, it's a windward. Kumbaga, igo mo sa wind shadow. So, ito na naman assessment. Okay? Our opening is not big enough to allow wind to pass through or so on. Yan lang siya. Sir, pa-request po ako unmute. Naka-unmute ako?
Hello, sir.
Oh, yan.
Hi. Ano, sir? Nag-request po sana ako mag-unmute, sir.
Ay, ako naka-unmute.
Last question.
Yes, yes.
Sir, regarding sa global ventilation, sir, napansin ko po na ang wind kay mataas siya doon sa gitna ng dalawang rooms. I assume na hallway yun or something. Let's say, sir, because of that, sir, kay mainit ang hallway. Ano ang solution for that, sir?
Okay. Actually, mainit yung hallway, pero kung makita mo, yung hot air, direction hot air is beyond the, kumbaga, beyond the level ng human height. At the habitable spaces at the rooms on both sides, so sa global ventilation, yung global cross ventilation, nasa, kumbaga, tama niya yung tao, nasa human height siya. It exits the room, kumbaga yung mainit ngayon na hangin within the rooms, lalabas siya at a higher point, smaller outlet, okay, palabas. Okay. Now, it's in terms of square area kasi yan. So, it doesn't mean na parang hindi siya proportional sa section na more on to, ano lang yun siya, kumbaga, representation of the size of opening. So, you could have a small, kumbaga, 1.2 by 1.2 na inlet, which is around 1.2 by 1.2, 144 ba? Square meters. Okay? And then you have a short, very, kumbaga maikli lang siya na exit na ventilation, yung outlet niya, pero mahaba. That increases the opening ng outer volume mo yun to increase the speed. Hindi yun siya, kumbaga, nung pinakita natin sa image, kaya natin balikan ha. Global ventilation. Ito yun. Naka-global stock
Yung
ventilation.
before po, sir.
Before ito?
Before it, sir. May global ventilation din before that, sir.
Ito. Ito siya?
Yan, sir.
Okay. Oh, this one is just to increase yung pressure niya. Okay. So, from the inlet, aakyat siya ngayon, lalabas. Tapos, magsislim down siya ulit. Dapat, kahit mainit na yung hangin, okay, hindi natin ma-maximize dito yung chimney effect. Pero at least, it's the wind speed. Mainit yung hangin, mainit yung temperature, plus high humidity. Ano yung at least alleviate to is the wind speed. So, i-maintain mo na yung wind speed. So, ang ginawa niya, wind speed, i-conserve na yung wind speed. Tapos, pagdating sa baba, kailangan matamaan yung lower portion of the rooms and magkakaroon siya ng evaporative cooling. Yun yung i-conserve niya. That's why I'm telling you, kung pwede, duhag yun ang inyong button. Aside from ventilation, you also apply yung chimney effect. You always have an outlet for hot air. Yan siya. This one is just for, kumbaga, illustration purposes nito, na makita yung, kumbaga, ginashow niya yung flow ng hangin without the chimney effect. Pero, kumbaga, in practical application na talaga, you don't just do cross ventilation. For it to be really that effective, kailangan mo incorporate yung cross ventilation and then stack effect. Okay?
I see. Thank you po, sir.
More? May tanong pa ba kayo? If there's none, how about, sir, low slanted ceiling, then di pwede maglagay ng openings on all sides? Mechanically ventilated ka na talaga, Iha. Wala ka na talagang suicide na yan siya. Yung exhaust. May exhaust fan ka talaga, tapos at least fan or aircon. Ay, naka-try na ako mabuhay sa kanya, mamatay. Ang laki-laki ng room, tapos yung window is just 0.6 by 1.2 meters. Yun lang. Hindi ka mabubuhay. It's in a townhouse before na nasa Manila ako. Review. Anong subdivision yan? Hindi pwede maglagay ng opening on all sides. Bakit sinagad yun na talaga yung firewall? Kevin? If that's the case, naka 2-story, kasi pwede ka maglagay na lang at least nung mechanically ventilated and then sort of isang exit sa taas na window. It's like a clerestory na window. Usually, for example, nakaslant yung ceiling, tapos makita niyo yung ay, wait. May pen pala dito. Ay, ando. Ano pag ando nito? Example is, nakaslant yung ang layo. Napakalayo ng marker ko. Sandali lang, class, ha? Please refer to my camera. Yan. Ano ba ito? Hirap naman. Example is, if you have a window, ganun, ceiling na. If kaya mo pang maglagay ng wall, dyan, okay, ito yung roof, may konting eaves dyan. If you can make this a window, if you can make that a window, okay, at least exit siya ng air by daytime, mainit na hangin, exit yung mainit na hangin. Tapos, ceiling line. Okay. Tapos by nighttime, if you ma-open mo siya, at least may papasok na hangin. Ang issue mo na ngayon is beyond hot temperature is yung pag-stick ng stale air dun sa room mo. Medyo not well ventilated, so yung mga pollutants hindi masyadong na-exchange na lalabas dun sa bahay. So better have it this way. Pero slanted, tapos roof na ba siya, Kellen? Row house, nakasagad. O then may katabi na room. If makagawa ka ng clerestory na lang sa taas, that would be a great, pinaka-solution mo na yun siya. And with that design, all you can do is just really mechanically ventilate your room. Yun na lang. Ang problema lang is if you, wala ka talagang outlet for the air, magsistale yung hangin sa loob. You must have a window at least for exchange ng air sa labas at sa loob. Okay? May tanong ba?
Hello ulit, sir.
Oh, yes.
Sir, if ever, not sure kung mayroon talaga mga buildings na ganito, na may isang building kung design ng room at the exact center of the building, then meron siya sa gitna, like for example in a 3-story building. Tapos sa taas, sa ilalim, sa left, right, front, and back, ay, mayroon na isang hallway, I guess. Kay na-block siya ng another room. Saan
So
po
on all sides, wala talaga siyang sort of ventilation.
or at least kung lagyan siya ng ventilation kay masira yung itsura ng other rooms. Anong gawin, sir? Kay, I feel, sir, kung kahit na mag-aircon or mag-electric fan, dangerous pa rin yung room kasi
Actually, pag ganyan na kasi, in high-rise design, if you go to 4th year, we will introduce you to what we call air shaft. In those rooms na wala siyang natural ventilation, gagawa kami ng parang air shaft. I don't know if you have been to most hotels sa Cebu, na mayroon sa inner rooms, tapos may bintana, pero pag tingin mo sa bintana, okay, parang pader. Uy, awkward, ano to? Actually, it's an air shaft. That air shaft, pag mainit, still na yung air, yung sa, at least mayroon siyang exit sa shaft. Ganun lang yan siya.
parang pipe.
Tapos, ang tendency kasi is, actually, doon sa shaft na yun, basta magkaroon lang ng pressure difference, i-vacuum na yung hangin doon sa rooms. Yun lang yung point. Sa stack effect lang siya. What they create is, doon sa upper portion, parang, let me draw it, ha? Kung maayos. Better. Ang ginagawa kasi is, radiation ko na ba? Ganun. Kunwari ito yung air shaft. They would create some sort of greenhouse. Pangit. Hindi ko pwede mag-networking class. Hindi ko kabalo musulat o pabaliktad. Ba? Okay?
Sir.
So, ang tendency nun is, at this area, mainit yung hot. Okay? Ang tendency, pag mainit to, nag-rise up yung air. Pag rise up, okay, nawawala yung air dito, nagkakaroon ng negative pressure. Kasi walang space ito eh. So, the tendency of the, kumbaga ng air dun sa baba is to occupy that space. So, magkakaroon talaga ng replacement of air. Okay? Tapos, minsan yan dun sa, for example, ito na dito na portion is room. Tapos, bintana yan siya. Meron yan silang mga inlet na portion. At least, papasok yung hangin dito. Ganyan. But commonly, kumbaga, practicality sake, for example, ano bang ganyang space, ano bang ganyang buildings? Commonly are apartments, condotters. So, ang ginagawa talaga, nag-provide sila ng tawag nito, ng mechanical ventilation. They provide aircon at that time. Pero, kahit naka-aircon kasi, pag hindi nasa-sanitize ng maayos, nagsistay yung air. So, best answer is air shaft. Air shaft. May air shaft talaga yan siya. The air shaft as well will nag na siya stock effect. Isang main purpose ng air shaft as well is kapag nagkasunog, okay, yung usok will follow the stock effect. It will not go to the other rooms. Yun din yung isang point ng air shaft. Okay?
Yes, sir.
May tanong ba?
Wala na po, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay? So, if there's none, I took 1.5 hours of your time. Class, thank you very much. Next, synchronous session, attendance is not really that required. Pero kasi i-record lang din naman. I hope we could have another time like this na session so I cannot take your time na yung basic hours. Kasi I'll be honest with you, I'm having trouble as well as internet connection. Kay yung 7 to 5, 9 to 5, ano yan, kumbaga, high traffic jam yan ng internet connection ko. Ewan ko kung bakit. Recently, na marami na nagpa-connect sa amin dito ng fiber. Parang napapag-iwanan na kaming mga DSL. So I have a internet problem connection. So class, I'll upload yung activity 1.8, the plate number 1. And to aid you for the plate number 1, I'll schedule within this week. Hopefully, available kayo Thursday, class, Thursday. Hopefully 5 onwards, kahit hindi masyadong late, or 6 onwards. Tapos, I'll show you how to conceptualize or pag-assess ng building. So, may i-show ako sa inyo yung sample ng lot ng design. So, i-assess ko siya. At this point, ito yung sun path diagram, so on and so forth. Until we will detail it one by one. Okay? Kaya mahirap naman yung ibigay ko lang sa inyo tapos wala kayong idea how to do it. Kasi this one, I know this is an entry-level knowledge po sa inyo. Wala pa kayong background knowledge na panghugutan nyo for this one. Okay? So if there are no questions, class, thank you. For this week, wala na tayong asynchronous session. Isa lang, but attendance is not required. So gusto mag-attend and wants to ask questions, you may attend to that one. Not regular hours. Tapos, let that be a recorded one. Tapos guide nyo na din how to assess existing building. Yun lang ha, mag-assess lang ng building. Same concept na yun siya on how to design building as well. Okay? So, class, thank you. Good night. I know you had a very long day. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir. Thank
Hi,
you.
sir.
Sir, may chat po ako.
Thank you, sir.